Lebanon is home to one of the world's oldest, if not the oldest, continuously inhabited cities, Byblos or Jabil. It was first documented as an inhabited area somewhere between 8,800 and 7,000 BC. Not much information is available about the following 2 millennia, but according to evidence, the area has been permanently inhabited from 5,000 BC to this day, making it one of the longest continuously inhabited regions in the world. Moreover, around 3000 BC, the urbanization process of the Byblos area began, potentially transforming it into the oldest city in the world. It hosted civilizations such as the Assyrians, Persians, Hellenes, Romans, Egyptians, Phoenicians, Genoese, Mamluks, and even the Ottomans. The city is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and is the birthplace of the Phoenician alphabet. In 2016, it was named the capital of Arab tourism, being a city highly appreciated for its open-air restaurants serving fresh fish, as well as for the many archaeological sites left behind by the numerous cultures that have called it home. The Jada Grotto is another must-see landmark, just 18 kilometers from Beirut, Lebanon's capital. This monument is unique in the world, and to give you an idea, it houses the largest known stalactite in the world. The Jada Grotto is an ensemble of limestone caves stretching over 9 kilometers. Although it's now confirmed that the cave was inhabited since prehistoric times, the lower section was only discovered in 1836 by Reverend William Thompson. This lower part can only be visited by boat, as a subterranean river flows through the grotto. This river provides drinking water for over 1 million Lebanese people. It wasn't until 1958 that 2 Lebanese archaeologists discovered the upper galleries, located 60 meters above the lower cave. These were later equipped with all sorts of scaffolding and walkways for tourists to visit and to protect the spectacular scenery offered within the cave. These galleries have sections that reach up to 12 meters in height. In 2010 to 2011, when the new list of the new 7 wonders of the world was being compiled, this grotto was among the 28 finalists. It was the only cave on the list named a wonder of nature. Unfortunately, it didn't make it into the top, despite being one of Lebanon's greatest attractions. If you're looking for a bit of adrenaline and want to see the ruins of millennia of conflicts and see in relative safety what a city that troubles the Israelis looks like, Baalbek is located 67 kilometers from Beirut and is considered the heart of Hezbollah. The city is at least 11,000 years old and has passed through the hands and fury of many peoples. In 334 BC, Alexander the Great conquered the city and renamed it Heliopolis, meaning City of the Sun. The urban settlement developed significantly during this period. The process of Christianization and then the rise of Islam following the Arab conquest in the 7th century transformed the city greatly. Later, even the Mongols passed through, looting all the houses, and as if that weren't enough, a series of earthquakes seriously shook all the buildings, which is why the city was no longer such a great point of interest for the Ottomans. You should know that, besides all the ruins left by every people who passed through, in Baalbek you can also find the temples of Bacchus and Jupiter, and the city is inscribed on the UNESCO World Heritage List. One thing I don't know if Lebanon wants to boast about is the fact that Baalbek is, as mentioned earlier, the heart of the Hezbollah group, which occupied the city between 1982 and 2000 during the conflicts between Israel and Lebanon. Not once have the Israelis bombed and attacked Baalbek, and not once has Israel taken the lives of civilians. In 2006, they attacked a hospital and bombed several houses, leading to the loss of at least 11 people who were minding their own business. And in 2024, specifically yesterday, during conflicts between Israel and Hezbollah, the state requested the evacuation of the entire city, and shortly after, violent attacks were launched that unfortunately led to the loss of another 19 people who were going about their business. 9 of these were girls. Although it doesn't have the happiest history and is the headquarters of one of the most controversial groups, Baalbek is a city full of culture, a mosaic that tells stories for over 11,000 years. Moving on, we have Beirut as the center of Lebanon. You couldn't choose a better city to showcase the distinct architectural influences that have completely changed the appearance of the Lebanese capital. For example, you see very strong French influences. Following extreme conflicts, and especially the Lebanese Civil War between 1975 and 1990, a large part of the capital was destroyed. Some areas were luckier than others. The C5 quarter, for instance, was completely destroyed, and with the help of French architects and the influence of French architecture, the neighborhood was rebuilt after the war, but in a modern style. Today, it's full of expensive houses, designer shops, the Ferrari dealership, you name it. Also in central Beirut is the Nejmeh Square, which houses the Lebanese parliament and several buildings of cultural and historical value. Although it was the center of several violent conflicts during the Lebanese Civil War, it was also rebuilt. It maintains its Art Deco style to this day, becoming an emblem of Beirut. We have wide streets and modern neighborhoods, established after the French decided to demolish the old buildings that didn't align with their plans there. The greatest Parisian influence is on Marad Street, conceived as a commercial area inspired by the Rue de Rivoli in Paris. It seems not only Istanbul, but also Lebanon has a blue mosque. It is located in the center of Beirut, also called the Mohammed Al-Amin Mosque, and has an interesting story. This construction is not as old as you might think. From the 19th century until 1975, it was a mosque dedicated to and named after a sheikh. It could be used as a place of worship and potentially as a school. It was renovated because in 2014, Lebanon had confiscated around 2,750 tons of ammonium nitrate from a cargo ship. Unfortunately, they left the extremely delicate material in the port of Beirut without any safety or protection measures. A simple fire near the substances was enough for a massive explosion to strike Beirut. At that time, 218 people lost their lives, 7,000 were severely injured, and 300,000 people were displaced, with material damages estimated at 15 billion euros. The explosion affected the mosque, but not enough to demolish it. And fortunately, it was reopened after the incident and can be visited today. Tomorrow, no one knows. If we were to name one common point where all the religions in Lebanon meet, that point would be the sanctuary of Our Lady of Harissa, perhaps the most important pilgrimage site in the country and even in the Middle East. It is located about 20 kilometers from Beirut, and the sanctuary includes a statue of the Virgin Mary, inaugurated in 1908, whom the clergy named the Queen of Lebanon. It is 9 meters high, weighs 15 tons, has a diameter of 5 meters, and the Virgin Mary, the statue, extends her hands over Lebanon to protect it. It seems we are not the only country with a deforestation problem. At one time, almost all of Lebanon's mountains were covered with cedar forests. However, the wood of this tree is very precious, so the Phoenicians used it for ships, the Egyptians for temples, and King Solomon for building the temple in Jerusalem. Today, this forest is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and a pilgrimage place for citizens of Lebanon and beyond. One of these trees is over 1,000 years old, and Lebanese cedars are mentioned in religious texts for more than 100 years. If you're passionate about ores, fossils, or even dinosaurs, you can't miss the Mineral Museum in Beirut. It was officially opened in October 2013, but chemist and co-founder Salim Ede began collecting minerals in 1997. In 2004, he first made his collection public in collaboration with the St. Joseph University of Beirut, in a space of about 1,300 square meters in the basement of the campus. Eventually, with the help of private funds, the museum was officially inaugurated in 2013 and houses over 2,000 minerals, totaling approximately 450 types, originating from 70 different countries. It is considered one of the world's most important private mineral collections. In addition, the museum includes a section dedicated to marine and aerial fossils discovered on Lebanese territory, the collection including fossils of a pterodactyl specimen. Perhaps one of the most complex states when we talk about the multitude of cultures, Lebanon has many cities or cultural vestiges included in UNESCO to be protected. On this list, we also have the ruins of the city of Anjar. It's a fairly small city, dating from around the year 715, a kind of commercial and residential center, and it became known for the Umayyad period, meaning the 8th century. Unlike other archaeological sites in Lebanon, which are largely Phoenician, Roman, or Byzantine, Anjar remains a testimony to the first great Islamic caliphate in Lebanon. Today, there is this old part of the city, full of ruins, included in the UNESCO heritage, but there is also a modern, populated part where people live, mostly Armenians who came here in 1915, which continues to make this country multicultural. Just 45 kilometers from Beirut, in the mountains, stands one of the most spectacular and expressive constructions of pure Oriental architecture, the Beit Adain Palace. Its construction was begun in 1788 by Emir Bashir Shihab II and lasted about 30 years, becoming a symbol of refinement in the region. Besides the clear Ottoman and Arab elements, we also see Venetian influences. After the emir's departure, the palace was used for various purposes, including as a residence for the Ottoman administration, and later as the summer residence of the President of Lebanon. Today it hosts the annual festival of the same name, a very important cultural and artistic event for the state, which, if you manage to catch it, you'll add to your list of, wow, what a cool thing I got to see. These are not all the very interesting things to see and know about Lebanon. For example, Lebanon had the longest-running space program in the Middle East. It was started in 1960 at the University of Beirut and had notable successes. Unfortunately, it was interrupted in 1966 due to conflicts in the region. It had the first orbital launch in the Arab world in 1961 with solid fuel, the launches reaching up to 1 kilometer in altitude. Then in 1962, Lebanon launched 2-stage rockets that climbed up to 20 kilometers. And in 1963, specifically on November 21st, it officially launched Seedri-4, a 3-stage module, nearly 7 meters long and weighing over 1,200 kilograms, which reached up to 145 kilometers in altitude, coming very close to low Earth orbit. But in '66, due to problems, it was shut down. Lebanon uses a lot of renewable energy, from ordinary families to companies and public institutions. In Lebanon, the majority of energy is produced by photovoltaic panels. Unlike us and the rest of the world, Lebanon did not enter the energy crisis because it knew how to manage solar resources and increase its production from 0 to almost 700 megawatts. It's no coincidence that Lebanon has a temple dedicated to the god Bacchus. A wine press dating back over 2,600 years was discovered on the state's territory, which allowed archaeologists to see the winemaking techniques used during this period, including how they processed and preserved the must for export. Although you might think Lebanon is a country permanently dominated by conflicts, you should know that it is the only country in the Arab world where the official religion is not Muslim. The state has a unique system called confessionalism, officially recognizing 18 religious communities. 11 of these are Christian, 4 are Muslim, and the others include Jews and Druze. Lebanon is mentioned 40 times in the Old Testament and is more frequently encountered in Egyptian texts. Because we talked about the problem of forests in Lebanon, the state had one of the largest reforestation campaigns a few decades ago. Starting in 1985, they began a plan through which they replanted areas with 200,000 seedlings. Contrary to what you might think and the reality of most Arab countries, Lebanon does not have a desert. It has mountains, forests, a very well-maintained Mediterranean coast, and quite a lot of vegetation. From a nature point of view, it is a truly unique ecosystem in the region. While we Romanians complain about a few Ukrainian refugees who have found peace on our country's territory, a difficult thing to do, Lebanon, located on the border with Syria, hosts approximately 1.5 million Syrians, plus other communities such as Palestinians and Ethiopians who have found refuge on the state's territory. Lebanon is the state with one of the oldest winemaking traditions in the world, with the liquor of Bacchus being produced for over 5,000 years. And the state not only produces table wine, but also many internationally awarded varieties. Officially called the Republic of Lebanon, this country is located in the Levant region of West Asia, bordered to the north and east by Syria, to the south by Israel, and to the west by the Mediterranean Sea. The official capital of the country and the largest city is Beirut. Last year, the population was estimated at 5.3 million inhabitants, with a density of 513 inhabitants per square kilometer. Although some archaeologists claim that there are older human settlements, official sources state that the 5000 BC mark is set in stone here in Lebanon.